Because, man, I just seek the truth.
Yep.
And it's so difficult to try to understand certain things.
Do you want?
And
Do you want to hear my conspiracy theory? Why?
let's hear it.
All right. So let me get a drink of water first. This is going to take a second.
Now, we say conspiracy theory, it must be true because apparently all the conspiracy theories have come true.
Yeah, and they're all explained by Deuteronomy 32. They're all explained by Deuteronomy 32.
The divine council.
Yeah. Crap, what was my conspiracy? What was the conspiracy theory I was going to tell you about?
Conspiracy theory about why it's so hard to understand the Bible.
Yep. Okay. So we're going to have to take a little bit of a walk here, but we're going to do this fast.
Ain't nothing fast with you, Ed.
I know. You can't do spiritual things fast, man. It takes time. You have to really slowly think about these. Like some of these things I've been thinking about for 25 years. And I still don't.
See, this is why Dale tells you 2 minutes.
I know. Man. It's impossible. So the supernatural world at least believes or believed that it could be Yahweh. And we know this because I think it's in the book of Corinthians. It basically says if they would have known, they would have never crucified the risen Lord. Right? Meaning the plan of the enemies was if they kill the Son of God, Jesus, and he's trapped in Tartarus or hell with them, he's stuck there with them, and either he's got to get them out with them or they win. All right? And they failed. And it's and literally the second they murdered him, and he was down there for 3 days, and then he leaves and he's like, peace out, suckers. I have the keys to death, and you're stuck, and I am God, and he's out of there. They had to change their tactics. All right. And I believe very, very much that the things in our world, like secret societies, the whole, the secret government that's actually running our government, the lizard people, whatever you want to use for conspiracy theories. I don't necessarily believe the details of that. I don't think there's actually lizard people walking around. But the spiritual explanation of Deuteronomy 32 explains all of these. And it does. When you really start parsing it out, right? And so here comes to why I think it's so hard to figure this out, right? There are two. So from the crucifixion on, all right, the enemies of God knew that they've lost. Jesus defeated death. And from the point he defeated death and proved it to them, they're done. What can they do? They're like, oh, crap. So now the only thing they can do to sustain their life, because the second the last Gentile it believes, and then all Israel is saved, the new heavens and the new earth comes, and the spiritual beings who rebelled are judged. Their time is over, right? And so all they can do, their only the only option they have is to delay the day of the Lord. And the only way to do that is to delay the hands and feet of Jesus, who are presently on earth, from accomplishing our mission of loving our neighbors into the kingdom of God, right? And so much of it becomes about distracting believers from the mission, all right? Now, when it comes to let's talk about game theory and so forth, when it comes to ways to control, okay? When it comes to knowledge, there's only two ways to control it. All right. One, and the first way is what happened with the knowledge of spiritual things up until the 1500s. And the first way is you limit the ability or access to knowledge. All right. And so prior to the printing press, I think the printing press was around 1439 or something like that. Gutenberg invented the printing press. But in 1517, when the Reformation happened. The Reformation, again, the breakaway from the Catholic Church, when Martin Luther and Zwingli and Huss and all these guys started fighting against the Catholic Church, one of the primary things they did was translate the Bible into language that the common people could understand and print copies of the Bible so more people had access to it, right? So prior to 1517, if you wanted information about spiritual things, obviously there are exceptions to this, but most people had to go to a Catholic church or a Roman Catholic church and go to a priest or someone at the church who had access to the Bible, who could read it to them and then translate it for them, because the Bible was often in Latin at that time and no one spoke Latin except for a couple of the priests. Meaning, if you wanted to know anything about God, there was one point possibly in the region where you could go and get access to a Bible, if your region had a Bible. Well, the Reformation changed all that. Now there's thousands of Bibles everywhere, right? And so the first way to control information is to limit access to it. So here's an example, right? Say I create an amazing new microchip that corrects baldness, or like, you know what I mean? Like I create a great new formula that corrects our hair issues. You know what I mean? Right? Now I want to make gajillions of dollars on it. So I limit the ability to access it to only one person who produces it. But then there's someone in that business who is like, man, I want to give this away for free. There are too many bald people out there. We got to help them, you know? And so that person leaks the formula on the internet. Now I only have one option if I want to limit control. As the person who invented, you know, the cure for baldness, my formula is now out there. The answers are now out there. I can no longer control information by simply limiting where there's access to it. So what do? I flood the world with so much BS formulas that don't actually grow hair, that you have to spend so much time trying to figure out what is true with all the possible truths out there. You're wasting your time spinning in circles. And I believe that's what is happening in our world today. I believe I believe television, social media, all of the media outlets that are out there are not evil in and of themselves. I think they were just things. But I think as Babylon grows and things get out of control, all of those things become a way to simply pollute people with so much information that they're controlled now, not by limited information, but by not knowing where to go for the real answers. That's my conspiracy theory. And I think that's what's happening in our world. I don't think it's a coincidence that that's the same tactics that rogue departments of evil governments all around our world use. You know, it's like, where did they learn it from? Genesis 6. The fallen beings, the Nephilim and so forth, taught mankind ways of war, ways of manipulation, all of that. And I believe that's why it's so hard to find truth today, because there is a spiritual attack on truth. And because it can't be limited anymore because of technology, it's so abundant, you don't know what to filter through.